Welcome back, everybody, to the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. I am Chris Witt. Alongside me, as always, is Mr. Adam Schmidt. Adam, how are you today, sir?
Tremendous. How are you?
You know, if I was any better, I'd be you. That's how I'm feeling today. It's in one of those good feeling kind of days.
Nice.
So we got a lot of stuff to go over today. Not a lot of stuff, really. You know, to be honest, the only thing that's really going on in sports right now is Major League Baseball and the NBA playoffs. Also, the NHL playoffs, by the way, which I hear the playoffs are insanely fun right now. I watched one game, half of a game. Is it half? No, maybe a period. I always want to call them quarters.
Yeah, periods.
If it goes to overtime, can I officially start calling them? Can I call it quarters for that game?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
If it only goes one overtime, I guess.
Yeah, if it only goes one overtime, can I call them quarters? That's my question, and I want to know the answer. So if you're on Facebook and you want to tell me if that's the answer or not, because we are on Facebook every Wednesday, 10:30-ish, we go live. And then if you can't catch us on Facebook, we will be on SoundCloud or YouTube or CastBox or iTunes, Apple Podcast, all the above, Spotify,
everywhere.
A bunch of other places Thursday morning.
Yes, we will.
So, Adam, it was a good weekend. Did you have a good weekend, buddy?
I did have a great weekend.
Yeah? What did you do this weekend?
What did I do this weekend? I went to a Reds game on Sunday.
Oh, there you
go. We'll talk a little bit about the Reds later on. We'll talk a lot about the Reds later on.
Talk a lot about we got our triple play today. Our MLB triple play, all Reds.
Yep. And because it's been a crazy week for the Reds. Very crazy week. A lot of stuff's going on right now. But first, we have something else that happened this weekend.
Yeah. Did you go to a derby party?
I did not go to a derby party. Number one, because weird. Number
what?
two.
Wait, hold on. Now we've had a little conversation. All right, we've had a little conversation, and I will get into what Adam said to me earlier yesterday. But before that, I would like to ask you, why is it weird to have a derby party?
Why are people having a derby party? Like, I feel like it's mostly people who do not watch horse racing ever until the Kentucky Derby. And by the way, the Kentucky Derby is a sporting event that takes hours that is actually like seconds long.
It's 2 minutes. It's a little
long.
Over 2 minutes.
And people have parties and dress up
like
they would never dress up for anything else.
Oh
and
my gosh.
Just an excuse to drink like everything else.
So this shows you how much Adam enjoys. I love horse racing. I love going to the races and the whole 9 yards of everything about it. I've never been to the Derby. However, I do love going. Adam, however, asked me yesterday. I said, do you want to talk about the Kentucky Derby tomorrow? And he says to me, yeah, let's talk about that, because I really want to know why they disqualified that horse for throwing too much mud up in the other horses' faces.
That's how much I follow it. That's how much I know about it. That's a perfect example of how much I care about it.
Oh, Lord.
Look, I know the Kentucky Derby is a big deal, and this was historic what happened in this Kentucky Derby. It really was.
It was historic. Something that hasn't happened in 145 years. Somebody got DQ'd for throwing too much mud in the other horses' faces.
Not just somebody, but the horse who won the race did. And what I thought was, because that was the first thing I heard someone say, was obstructing someone's view or something like that. and I'm like, really? How could they possibly control that?
Adam,
but that's what I thought it was.
Adam says that, and I just start cracking up. Why do jockeys have 4,000 face masks on? I don't know. Maybe because there's going to be mud thrown all over the place.
I have all kinds of questions about that too. I don't understand how that works. I don't. When you see them going out like before they start the race, you see the jockeys, they parade them out in a single file line, and it's a whole big, all the pageantry and everything.
Yeah, man, you got to look at the horses, everybody, before you make your bets and everything. You got to see how that horse looks beforehand, if it's confident, ready to go, a little skittish, you never know.
I usually place my bets for the jockey that looks the funniest because they all look funny.
How do you?
They all look
decipher
hilarious.
that one.
Whoever is the shortest and weighs the least is who because I figure that's the least amount of person that the horse has to carry.
Sure.
So no, I'm just kidding. I went to a racetrack one time and placed like a couple of bets just for the experience.
Do you remember what your bet was? Do you remember how to make a horse bet?
I do not.
Do
If
you
I went
remember how
back
to
right
bet?
now, this was a couple years ago. If I went back right now, I would have to learn it again.
The best thing they ever did was put the order up there. Oh man, those people behind that counter, they absolutely hate when people come up and make a bet on a horse and have no idea what they're doing. They'll say like,
I'll bet.
yeah, show 4-horse dollar. And they like get irritated. It goes, how much, type of bet and number of horses.
See, and I don't think I did that at all. I don't think I did it like that at all when I went.
Yeah.
I think I went up there like, I've never done this before.
Yeah.
Can you help me? And,
Hey, they will help you though if you need some help.
They were nice about
Yeah,
it.
they're
but
good. If it's not a busy day.
Yeah, I knew when I went up there, I was like, these people are going to hate me because I have no idea what I'm doing.
That is.
And of course, if there's a line, if there are people behind me in line, I panic because I'm so in a rush to get out of line because I'm holding people up, and that bothers me so much. Even though everybody else is in the line for the same thing, and everybody in front of me didn't care about it, but
You just want to do it as fast as you can.
I just have to get out of there because I'm holding all these people up. Anyway,
that is the whole point of being there, is to get in line to make the bet, just so you know. So it's okay to be in line. It's okay for people to be behind you. You're not holding anybody up. They can go to another line, or they should have came to the line earlier if they wanted to get in front of you. And by the way, just to let you know, Maximum Security did not get disqualified for throwing up too much mud in the other horses' faces.
I learned that, yes.
Yes. So he was actually disqualified for basically coming out of his lane and impeding multiple horses. I come to find out, I thought it was just Country Horse's jockey who put the whatever you call that, where he said that he should be DQ'd. What is it called?
It was like an objection or
an
something
objection.
like that,
there you go.
Yeah.
It was also War of Will, who is probably the horse who got screwed the most out of all this, because he ends up in like 8th place. He was in 2nd place. He's the one whose feet were in between Maximum Securities, and he had to slow up to actually to when he slowed up, then everybody else got slowed up, and it very well could have been very, very bad in that race. That could have got real ugly. However, so because he gets out of the way, War of Will drops down to 7th place. Now, somehow this horse Country Day sneaks around the outside and doesn't have anything to do with anything going on in there. Probably would have came in like 9th or 10th place. And because all this happens and he stays clean, he comes in 2nd. And he puts an objection in, even though he was not impeded at all. He's was a terrible horse. And he gets to win the Kentucky Derby.
Well, sure. I mean, if you come in 2nd and there's an opportunity to get the other guy disqualified, you win, of course. But I mean, let me ask you that: would you want to win that way? I mean, if you're 2nd place and you know it's possible that they could. By the way, the officials for these races are called stewards. Never heard that before in my whole life.
Yeah, you got to have a steward, man. The steward's got to take care of it.
Okay. Well, they did, and they reviewed it. Took a long time.
It would have never taken that long in a normal race. Just to let you know, if you went to Churchill Downs on a Friday, like I'll be doing here in a couple days, or if you go to Keeneland in one of the 2 months that they're racing on, where it's not a stakes race or anything like that, that would have been called probably within 2 or 3 minutes. They would have made the decision.
Yeah, so it was, all these things are new to me. I'm hearing all kinds of new terms and learning all kinds of new things about horse racing that I'll probably never use again, but like college.
So so you've only been to one horse race in your life.
I did. I went to Keeneland one time.
So that, I'm going to tell you right now, Keeneland's one of my favorite places to go.
It's very, very popular around here. I've never heard anyone say anything bad about going to Keeneland. It's a big event for a lot of people. Everybody
Yeah.
loves it.
It's awesome.
I know one guy who doesn't really like it very much.
I can already guess who that's going to be. Probably the one guy who's only been there once, and he's sitting to the right of me.
And you would be correct.
How do you not like? What was there to not like about Keeneland? I have to know.
There was almost nothing to like about Keeneland for me. So you have to know me a little bit, but I went there and it was so first of all, you have to dress up. You're expected to. You don't have to, I guess, but that's the thing. You dress up really nice in dress clothing, and the big thing is it's just a party. It really is just a party. I mean, people go
It is
there
a party, yeah.
for the party. People don't care about
That's-
horse racing and go there for
I just
the party.
figured it out. That's why you don't like it.
It's
because
one of the
it's
biggest
a party.
reasons.
It's
one
a
of the biggest
party,
reasons.
so you don't like it.
That's one of the biggest reasons, for sure.
Heaven forbid a bunch of people get together and have fun.
It's an excuse. When I say party, it's an excuse for everybody to get together and drink heavily and irresponsibly. That is what it is to me. Now, I also didn't love that it was hot that day. I have to wear pants and a long sleeve collared shirt, okay? And then so they have, and the tailgating outside the place is the big thing at Keeneland, right? Or at least as I understand it.
I've never tailgated outside. I get my ticket. I go inside, and I like the actual part, the actual racing part of it. But hey, don't get me wrong. I'm not one to turn down a good time at all. I'm at it. If there's tailgating, I'm involved.
They've got people have everything going. Everybody's drinking like crazy. Everybody, they've got everybody's parked. There are a million cars in this enormous field, and half the field that's the closest to the actual place is like dirt. It's like all dirt. I think probably because there are so many people in cars constantly going through there. It's dirt. So you are drinking and partying in dress clothes on the dirt and playing cornhole and doing whatever else. Or the other side, like the extended part of the field, was where I parked because it took 3.5 hours to get there, even though it's an hour and a half away, because the traffic is so bad in the last like 20 mile, or the last like mile to get there. We parked in a field that the grass was like 2 feet long. So it was either dirt and dust everywhere that you're partying in your dress clothes on, or grass that is 2 feet long with like just crickets and grasshoppers and bugs, mosquitoes everywhere.
Mr. Outdoors over here.
I can't stand bugs. I can't stand tall grass. I can't stand if I'm wearing really nice clothes, why am I putting myself in those positions at all to get everything all messy? And I mean, what's I don't know. I don't understand really anything about it.
I can tell you what it is. Here, you want me to help you understand? Yeah. It's a party. It's fun. Enjoy yourself a little bit.
None
Smile.
of those. I just listed all of the things that happen there. None of those things are fun to me. None of those things.
A cricket jumping by is not going to hurt you.
It was a lot more than a cricket. I'm telling you.
All right, so here's the deal. So I understand that. So where did you sit when you got? Did you finally get in the place?
We didn't sit. We went in the
so
place.
Then you didn't really have to wear all those dressed up clothes because that's. I mean.
So you have to wear dress up clothes to sit? Is that?
No, like there's certain parts of the track where you have certain dress codes that you have to abide by. You could have wore a pair of nice jeans and a polo and been fine.
Okay, number one, I don't have a pair of nice jeans.
I don't own. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't own a pair of jeans that fit me, so I don't have a pair of jeans right now.
I don't know. I do wear jeans on Friday at work, but so I guess they're nice enough for that. But
hey, if you can wear them to work, you can wear them to Keeneland.
Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do next time. In fact, next time I'm wearing basketball shorts and a t-shirt like I am right now because it's not worth dressing up. It's stupid. It's stupid to dress that nice to go sit or stand in the blazing hot sun, and while everybody around you is just hammered and and watching horse races. I couldn't see very well. We didn't have seats. It was you're elbow to elbow with everybody. It's packed there. So
Everybody's hooting and hollering. Oh my gosh, were they cheering?
They were making noise, which
They
I
were
also
cheering?
hate.
Were they cheering? Oh my gosh, Adam,
No,
were they cheering?
people weren't even cheering. That's the thing. And then there's so much time in between races. I think I actually saw like 2 races maybe, or a race and a half or something. What I could see, the move that you always do, that you started perfecting when you were a kid in church, where you're finding the spot between heads, between heads, so that you can see.
yeah.
You can't see over anybody, so you try to see through and around people. So you start doing that early on, and then so you work on that, and you go to all kinds of different sporting events and stuff like that. So you really get to know how to do that. But so that's what I did. It just wasn't a good experience for me.
I want to take you back to I want to take you back to the track. I want to take you to the track. Let's go to Turfway on a Thirsty Thursday or something like that. Dollar beers, dollar dogs.
Where everybody's even drunker.
Jeans and a t-shirt. Good to go. No big deal. Shorts. I wear a pair of basketball shorts and a t-shirt. Nothing fancy. We don't even have to go on a Thirsty Thursday or whatever they call them. We'll go on a nice normal, Saturday night. And I'm gonna show you a good time at the races, man.
Okay, well, we're going in, like you said. We're going in when we get there, and I gotta have a seat, and I gotta know what the weather's gonna be like. And I gotta
get you a seat. I'll make sure we know the weather. We'll be undercover. I'll make sure we're undercover for you. It'll be. I'm my new goal in life is to make you enjoy a day at the races.
Okay.
Or a night at the races.
I'm willing to give it a shot under your supervision.
I will have an alcoholic beverage.
Sure.
I'm just letting you know.
Sure. Just don't be like the other 19 to 24-year-olds that are packing the place that are just there to drink after drink after drink after drink after drink and try to look very attractive by their clothing and their makeup and all that
first
kind
off,
of stuff.
I'm all about people getting dressed up to look good. If
the situation is right,
yeah,
horse
racing is the best situation to go get yourself looking good.
I feel like that is like in the when it started in the 1800s and maybe the 20s and 30s, like people dressed up because that's how people went to baseball games like that. But like now, there are so many. I mean, it's not a sophisticated place, really. I mean, the sophistication is increased by people dressing up like that a little bit,
sure,
but their behavior doesn't match.
Yeah, for the most part, it's
time.
just a bunch of Pete Roses.
Yes, exactly. It's a bunch of hillbillies that go watch horse racing. That's just what it is. And
it has been.
You can find
the gauntlet has been thrown down.
You can find. I was trying to avoid the H word, but I went ahead.
The hillbilly is
it.
out. All right. Okay. Speaking of hillbilly, so one of my favorite things about horse racing because we gotta move on at some point. One of my favorite things about horse racing is the names of the horses. Tyler Roop jumped up. First off, you have got to read don't read them now. There's too many of them. The comments on Facebook Live are pretty spectacular at this point in time. Read those after the show, Adam, because they're all about you. And what would your horse's name be?
Boy, on the spot, huh? My horse's name would be it would be Rum Dum, probably.
Rum Dum? I like that. Yep. Rum Dum.
Or I don't know.
Ding Dong.
Either Ding Dong, Rum Dum, or Hoo Ha, probably.
Hoo Ha. Ooh, hey.
Wasn't that the third one?
I don't know. But we're talking about hoo ha's all of a sudden.
No,
I don't know where that came from.
I thought that was the third one.
It might have been. It might have been. One of my favorite horses from the other day. Where is it at here? What was that guy's name? The horse's name was Win Win Win. I mean, that's pretty original right there.
Yeah. There are some really.
That's terrible.
There are some really strange, some really dumb, and a few pretty cool.
Master fencer. What's a master fencer? I have no idea.
Somebody who's good at putting up fences. I don't know.
I thought it was like on guard.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Master fencer.
Fencing, yeah.
Anyway, there you go. So the other one horse's name was just Tax, T-A-X. All right, so that's the end of that. Adam, oh my gosh.
All right, look, You tell me when we're going.
We'll go. We're gonna make this happen.
Tell me when
we'll
we're
make
going.
this happen. So we'll
We'll
put
do
it out.
the-
We'll put it out on the FaceTube, and we'll have a Nosebleed Sports Podcast day at the races.
Is it is Keeneland? Is it April and September?
It's September, October. I'm not really sure exactly which
Okay.
month that other one is,
Maybe
but
we'll-
April's the other one.
Right.
We don't have to go all the way to Keeneland. No, we don't have to do that. Let's start you off slow. We'll hit a weekend when Turfway's running.
Turfway. Got it.
Northern Kentucky,
the minor league.
big
right.
time minor league. That was Pete's big spot, man. Pete loved Turfway Park.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So anyway, all right. So on that note, we are going to jump into some basketball. But before we go to basketball, you know that at the when we do at the Kentucky Derby, that you probably aren't going to get bitten by any bugs because they use a mosquito control. They don't use Ohio mosquito control because it's in Kentucky. However, if you live in Ohio, you could use Ohio mosquito control. I just had my first treatment done the other day. Went out and mowed the lawn today. Guess how many bug bites I got?
I'm gonna guess less than one.
It was absolutely zero. Absolutely zero. At Ohio Mosquito Control, they offer quality service to the Cincinnati area at reasonable prices. Family owned and operated. They are a professional mosquito control service. Just a phone call away, or go to Ohio Mosquito Control. Ohio-MC.com. The guys that do this been doing it for a couple years now. They're awesome, and they are the pest of the pest. Ohio Mosquito Control, Ohio-MC.com. Load it. Get on there. You can schedule your treatment. They will send you a text telling you the day they're coming. Send you a text when they get there. Send you a text when they're done. Shoot you over a bill. Pay them. Done. Simple.
Very, very nice.
Ohio-MC.com. So on that note, let's talk a little bit about some NBA basketball.
Chris, we have our first entry, I should say, into the conference finals. It is official now. The Milwaukee Bucks beat the Celtics tonight to make their way to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Congratulations,
yes.
Giannis
and company. They are will wait for the winner of the 76ers Toronto Raptors series.
Can we talk about the Sixers-Raptors first? Because
Sure, we can.
I've got a question that I want to ask you.
Absolutely, we can.
Okay, so Sixers-Raptors. One of the things I was looking forward to most in this entire playoffs was Serge Ibaka and Joel Embiid getting in a fight. I wanted to see them two big boys throwing down.
Mm-hmm.
Serge Ibaka, Joel Embiid, nothing.
Nope.
Nothing.
Well, part of the issue is that Joel Embiid has been very, very sick for the last two games.
Yeah, he had the runs. Not the last two, just for Game 2 and Game 4.
Was it?
Yeah,
So
Game 2 he had the runs. Game 3 he was okay. Game 4 he texted his coach 9 hours before the game started and said, Stephen A. Smith's going off about this and I love it. He texted him 9 hours before the game started and said, I'm not feeling that great. I don't think I'm going to be able to play tonight. 9 hours? You're an NBA player in the playoffs? You can't. You're going to text your coach at 6 o'clock in the morning, 9 hours before your game starts, to tell him that? Anything can happen in 9 hours. Take a nap. I didn't sleep very well. I may not be able to play.
Well, see, that's why I think he was sick for the last few days. So if he's feeling that bad, if he was sick for a few days and he was feeling that bad and he was up at 6 in the morning, I can understand where he's saying, like, I don't see now.
You got to go to the doctor. You got to get something in you. This is the NBA
and he's
playoffs.
going to, and he did.
And he played terribly.
He's right, and I'm sure that's what everybody's talking about.
Well, then why was his Game 3? So why do you have such a great Game 3 in between 2 and 4 that were terrible?
I don't know, but he look. Not everybody can be Michael Jordan. You can't get
truth.
Can't get 38 with the flu. Okay.
Did Michael Jordan really have the flu?
I mean, we could get
or
into
did
that.
he just have too much fun the night
Was it
before?
Food.
I
They
feel
said
like-
food poisoning. and
Maybe a
some
little
people say
hungover. He
that.
was caught at something like 4 in the morning at the casino or something. Here's my question to you. I got another question for you,
Okay.
Mr. Fun Control Police over here.
Okay.
The Fun Police over to my right.
Yeah.
So my question to you, sir, is: do you? Let's see. Knowing that Michael Jordan liked to have a cocktail or two and go hit the tables and have some fun, does that turn you off on Michael Jordan a little bit?
No, I never saw him do it.
Oh, so
I was never around him
gotcha.
when he did that.
Hello. You've never seen Santa Claus. He still comes to your house every year, doesn't he?
I've seen Santa Claus.
Oh, okay. I haven't. So
sat on his lap in the mall.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So anyway, before we ruin lives, back to the Celtics. So Kyrie Irving is having not the most fabulous playoffs. He actually, I believe his exact words were he took 22 shots and made like 7 of them or something. And he said he feels like he should have shot 30. He should have took 30.
Well, people who are confident scorers and confident shooters are going to shoot.
Yeah, but is that what you say right after a game? Right after a game, you just got beat. You just got beat. Is that really the word? Is that the best thing to say? Your teammates are probably already irritated at you with you a little bit. He's obviously not been the best teammate in the locker room. I don't know. I feel like that could have been said at a different time by a different person.
I don't have much of a problem with what he said there. I know what you're saying. He was very back and forth kind of all year. He said really to begin the season that he was not going to stay in Boston after this season.
He made it pretty clear.
At some point during the season, he was addressing the crowd for whatever reason, and he said he wanted to stay. He wanted to be there. And then you had the episode where he was frustrated. He was trying to become a leader, which he's been chastised for so far his entire career. He was trying to become that leader. So he's kind of the vet now where he's got younger guys that he has to try to teach how to be a professional, how to win basketball games at a high level.
But they did last year. These kids did last year.
Without
they're not
him.
getting without him, and they're not even getting as much of a chance to play. And
Right.
Gordon Hayward does not look healthy.
We talked about it last week. He looks a lot better than he did when he first came back from his injury, but he's not the same player that he was.
No.
He's not the same player he was in Utah for sure. So maybe I don't know if that's just going to be Gordon Hayward from now on, or if he needs another change of scenery, whether it's with another team or probably not, but maybe with a different set of teammates possibly.
Yeah, when your legs going east and your ankles going west, I think that's going to take more than just a year to get figured out.
So that's a bad formula.
Yeah.
But look, he has worked his way back to not being a bad player, but he has not been in games in big situations, though, at times because he isn't the same player that he was before. So we'll have to see with a full off season to work out, train, and be healthy, see how he comes back next year. As far as Kyrie Irving goes, though, he did not shoot the ball well in the series. He did not shoot the ball well again tonight in the closeout game. And his effort looked very poor tonight. It looked like he gave up, honestly, to me. And he, on defense, the way he moved and stuff on offense, it just did not look. It looked like after they went down 3-1, he made up his mind. And probably not just Kyrie, but honestly, I mean, everybody's been talking about Kyrie's probably not going to stick around.
Yeah.
If he already has that in his mind, I know I'm gone. We're down 3-1. I'm frustrated with myself. I'm frustrated with my teammates, my coach, whoever he's frustrated with. He's probably like, you know what? We're not going to win a championship with this team. I'm ready to move on.
So Brad Stevens is known for being the, getting young people to buy in. That's what he's been so good at. Is this kind of a shot against him, or is this just, or do you think Kyrie Irving leaving could be the best thing for the Celtics?
It's interesting because you don't want to think Kyrie Irving's such a great player. You don't think a guy with that caliber, a player of that caliber, leaving a team would make them better. And I'm not convinced that it will, but you think about the way they're playing now compared to the way they were playing at this time last year in the playoffs without Kyrie Irving or Gordon Hayward. it's a totally different dynamic. It's a totally different team, period. I mean, most of the same guys are still on this team, but it's a completely different way they're playing.
Well, you can see the ball gets stale a lot.
It does. And they moved it around a lot better last year, and they also had 2 or 3 guys that were bench players that were playing above their better than the back of their basketball card.
Yeah,
They had a few guys that were playing really hot, the Terry Roziers and those guys. This
Scary
year,
Terry. If I heard Scary Terry one more time last year, I was
yeah.
going to throw somebody through a window.
That's not a good nickname at
I
all.
wasn't going to let them decide if it was open or closed. I was going to keep it closed.
Thank you, Charles. Charles Barkley. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens this offseason for the Celtics and, of course, for Kyrie. I think the front runner still sounds like it's probably the Knicks. Joe Leonard on Facebook mentioned, welcome to the Lakers, Kyrie.
I would love to see that because I think that those two together now is a completely different combination than it was then. I think it would be even better, and those two were able to win a championship with not much else. So I think it would be even better now with a mature Kyrie Irving and a more healthy LeBron James.
How much more mature is Kyrie, do you think, than he was 3 years ago?
Mature enough to call LeBron and apologize.
At that time, he's been.
Oh yeah, but the kid's 23. Was he 25 years old? 26 years old?
Kyrie?
Yeah,
he's at least 26 now.
27, 28.
I think.
Yeah, he's grown into it. He's still got a little immaturity. He probably would go to the horse races and get absolutely obliterated out in a tailgate. So maybe not 100% Adam Schmidt, but he's definitely got a little Chris Wood in him.
Okay, so I don't know how that would work. I think Kyrie's
trying to figure out where everybody's going.
You're right.
I hate that.
But it seems like Kyrie wanted to go somewhere else away from LeBron because he wanted to be the guy. He wanted to be the alpha. He wanted to be the leader, and he got it. It's not
if
working
he goes
out
to
for
New
him
York,
great right
he's
now.
not going to be that guy.
Because
KD's going to end up there, and KD is going to be the man wherever he goes. Because Kevin Durant is the most talented basketball player in the NBA, while LeBron is injured.
I'll give you score. I don't know player, but I'll give you scorer.
Okay, I'm good with that. Most talented scorer because you got guys like Kawhi and like Kawhi. And Giannis that could be up there maybe, but when it comes to score, there's nobody. You can't stop Kevin Durant. I mean, you James Harden is extremely difficult to stop scoring wise, but Kevin Durant is by far the most difficult person in the NBA to stop.
He is. He's especially the way he's playing right now. It's easy to say that.
Speaking of those two, they're playing as we speak.
They are.
And Golden State's up 31-17.
Okay, so good start for Golden State. Really quickly, though, in the East, so we talked a lot about the Celtics. That series is over. Milwaukee advances on. The Celtics shot the ball poorly all series, but guess what? The Milwaukee Bucks were the best defensive team statistically in the NBA all year.
Right, so there's a reason why, probably.
Reason why.
Right.
Milwaukee is they're in a great position to beat either of these two teams, Toronto or Philadelphia. Toronto is up 3-2 in that series right now. They are back in Philadelphia tomorrow, Thursday, for Game 6. If Philly takes care of the home court there, they will go back to Toronto for Game 7 on Sunday.
Embiid told Drake he was going to be back. He looked right at him and said, "I'll be back."
He did.
"I'll be back."
Yes.
That's probably not the exact
yes
way he talks, but anyway.
Actually grew up in the same town with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
All right, so do we want to go over that? Because, there's a little bit going on there. You got the sickness. We've talked a little bit about it.
We did.
Kawhi's been playing out of his mind.
Kawhi has been excellent. Danny Green shot the ball really well the last game. They've been 3 of the 5 games that they've played so far were really good close games. 2 of them were blowouts, 1 for each of the teams. So it's really hard to tell I would think because they're facing elimination and they're at home, I expect Philadelphia to win this next game.
I'm with you. I think this is. I think Philly's got something to prove after, especially because it was the biggest loss. Was this past one? They lost by 30 points.
Right.
So 34 points. So this is where it needs to come in. This is where you're going to see. I think you'll see Philly step up, but I don't know, man. I'm really starting to lean towards the Rockets in 7 in this.
Rockets in 7. I'm still taking Golden State in 7 so far.
No. In this series.
Oh, I thought you said Rockets.
I'm not Rockets. Raptors. Sorry,
okay.
Raptors. My bad. Sorry.
You might have said
sorry.
Raptors. And
I know I said
Rockets.
Raptors in 7 in this series.
Okay, I thought we were transitioning.
Well, I'm a quick transitioner sometimes. I do jump around.
Okay, so you take Raptors in 7, and I say the same thing.
Yeah.
I still think the Sixers certainly have a better roster. So it wouldn't surprise me at all. They can beat Toronto at home, but I think Kawhi is going to be at his best again if they go into a Game 7. Pascal Siakam has been easily, or not easily, but he's been an outstanding number 2 on that team.
Without a doubt.
I mean, he led them in scoring last game.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I take the Raptors in 7, but it wouldn't surprise me either way. I'm taking the Bucks though in the Eastern Conference Finals. So this series
doesn't matter to you at all.
that much to me.
All right, well then let's go to the West because there's 2 really fun series over in the West.
Yes.
So obviously Golden State and Houston are playing right now. That is this feels like the Western Conference Finals because of the way the Portland-Denver series is so off-played. So let's go into Portland first because Portland and Denver are the 2-3 seeds, the 2 and the 3 seed in the West. And I'm going to tell you right now, Damian Lillard has been phenomenal in the postseason. But I might have a new favorite player in these NBA playoffs.
Nikola Jokic.
That dude looks like a loaf of bread and dominates the entire game. What did he say the other day that he thought he was a little chubby? Yeah, bro, you're a little chubby, but he can't be stopped. He runs the point guard from the center position better than anything I've ever seen in my life. I watched him make like 6 unbelievable, terrific passes directly. I mean, he couldn't have been any better. I don't know. I like the kid a lot.
The funny thing is he's been doing this all year. He's been incredible all year.
He has.
And a lot of people are just finding out about him.
Because it's the playoffs. That's what people watch. Just like hockey and things like that.
Right.
Nobody's watching until the playoffs get there.
Correct. But Jokic has been, and I love him too because passing is my favorite part of basketball. And, of course, I love point guards for that reason because they primarily do that. But I love a big guy that passes the ball well. Your Chris Webbers and Bill Waltons and Vlade Divac.
How about underrated great passer for a big guy, Shaquille O'Neal?
He was a pretty good passer, yeah. He had to pass out of double and triple teams constantly.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it was finding guys at the three-point line. Nikola Jokic is finding guys from every single angle on the floor, from every place on the floor to every other place on the floor. He's finding people. He is no looking people away. He can make any pass that any point guard. He might be the best passer in the NBA. The best passer
he
in the NBA.
He even had a Tom Brady one-handed whatever full court throw the other night.
Yeah.
Full court throw, full court pass. Man, I'll tell you what, I'm struggling with my words today, bro.
His outlet passes are excellent too. Right on
the money, 2 points.
He's so much fun to watch because of his passing ability, but
and
then
he shoots
also
83% from the free throw line.
And he's a good shooter. He has made so many different kinds of shots in this series. A lot of these strange like mid-range in the lane, but like not near the basket, but 6, 8, 10, 12 footers that are odd shots because you don't get them all the time, but he's getting a lot of those shots and it's like they're like layups to him.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he might be that far away, but he's got some freakishly long arms.
He does.
So when he gets up, and he's like 7'2" or whatever he is, so when he gets in there, I mean it's basically a layup anyway.
And it's
It'd
funny.
be a layup for me or you.
It's funny because he is so slow. He's not. He is.
No, he's a loaf of bread.
He's very
I'm
slow.
telling you, I love. Somebody said he was a loaf of bread, and he was a loaf of bread that dominated the game, and that's been my favorite. I'm using it. I think it was Dan Levitard.
That is really funny. And two other nicknames that I've heard so far are Big Honey,
Big Honey,
and the Dad Bod God. So he's got, he's an emerging
bod God.
He's an emerging superstar. So all the nicknames are going to come out. But he is outstanding. He's been the best player in this series. He's a triple-double machine because of his passing ability and because of how big he is, and that he rebounds and scores like crazy. It's been him and Jamal Murray. Don't let Jokic overshadow Jamal Murray. He's been terrific in this series too, and he was really good all year. But Murray and Jokic make that thing go, and they're up 3-2.
It makes it nice when you got a shooter like Murray and a big man that can get the ball to him from the paint. So
what you can do with pick and rolls and pick and pops with those two is just endless.
It's too bad that Jamal Murray loves the 3 arrows, so now you don't like him.
Yeah, correct, right. I don't like him. He's a good player, but I don't like him
Heaven forbid, because he celebrates.
Because he has to celebrate a 3-pointer.
Heaven forbid the guy celebrates. Here we go.
I'm just kidding. I don't dislike him.
So are we giving this to Denver? Because I'm feeling like I need to give it to Denver, even though I feel another big Damian Lillard game coming down the road.
Because it's Game 6 is tomorrow. It's in Portland, and they're facing elimination too. Same reasons.
It just doesn't feel like his supporting cast is all there. I mean you got Enes Kanter. He's
been pretty good.
He's been solid. He's filled in well. Rodney Hood's probably been their second best player on that team.
CJ McCollum, I would put there, and people don't realize how good Seth Curry really is.
Sure,
he's a really, really good shooter, and I think he's even better than he's played in this series. I think if he got a lot more opportunities to shoot the ball, if they ran stuff for him a lot more, I think that he could put up some pretty decent numbers. But
he was 20% from 3 in the last game.
Yeah,
1 for 5.
Look, even Steph has struggled in his series.
We'll get to that in a second.
If the best shooter in the history of the game is struggling from 3, anybody can.
Then his brother can.
Right. So that series, I can't decide.
I'm going Denver, dude. I'm going with my loaf of bread, Big Honey, loaf of bread. I'm loving this dude a lot.
I am too. I will go with them just because they have home court. I think hopefully it'll go 7. So if
you could get 3 Game 7s on Sunday, it'll be the greatest day of your.
It's gonna be the greatest. It's gonna be one of the greatest days in American history. I mean, you're talking
at least for this year,
gaining their independence. July 4th, 1776.
Look at you. You knew.
You've got. I think that was the right year. I don't know, but you've got the abolition of slavery. It's right there. 3 Game 7s on Sunday would be right there with the greatest moments in
watch it.
in American history.
It. Put it up. I don't know about that.
No, it's right there. It's right there with them. I'm rooting so hard.
All right. So we want. So you're wanting Portland in this game, in the next game. However, you want. I'm going with Denver. I take Denver. Yeah, Denver. I guess it would be 7. No, Denver's up 3-2. Denver and 6. I don't think you're going to get this.
Okay.
I don't think this is going to be. I don't think this one's going to Sunday. Yep,
okay.
They're going to win in Portland. I don't think this is going to Sunday. That's the end of it. So let's get into the Rockets Warriors and finish off the NBA with some Steph Curry, who is struggling mightily.
He is struggling. Luckily, Kevin Durant is averaging about 40. So it's okay.
I'm telling you right now, he's the most unstoppable force in basketball.
His shot making ability, because he can shoot over just about anybody that guards him.
He literally can shoot at any moment in time, anywhere he's at. Who's guarding doesn't matter.
Yes, because he has great range, and he can shoot the mid range shot. He can catch it in the post and just turn and shoot over somebody. And then if you get a big guy on him to try to use some length against him, he's probably going to go around you. He's not like super quick or anything, but he can go around you and drive to the basket, and then he'll probably pull up. He doesn't really, unless the C's part, he doesn't really usually go all the way to the rim and challenge people at the rim
Right.
on the offensive end.
He will.
He sometimes
He can.
but a lot of times he'll pull up and take the little mid range or the little shot in the lane, which is fine because he makes all of those. He makes every shot he takes. So not every shot he takes, but every kind of shot.
Every kind of shot.
So anyway, Steph is not going to continue to struggle. I don't think.
The thing that's funny about Steph struggling. Before you continue, Steph Curry struggling is still 30 points. Just to let you know.
Yeah, right.
It's still 48% from the field, but he was 28 from 3, so everybody freaks out. 4 of 14 from 3-point line, but he still ends up with 30 and almost shoots 50% from the field. So you could call it struggling if you want. He missed a possible game-tying shot. So did Kevin Durant at the end. They had 2 good looks at it. So, you call it what you want. I still think Golden State is the better team. Golden State's going to take this. Take it tonight, and I believe that they'll take it again on Friday.
So they win the next 2.
Or is it Friday, or they play on Saturday?
No, they'll play.
No, Friday. And then Sunday. Yeah, Friday.
I think I'm going to go ahead and root for a 1-1 split for the next 2 games.
I
so
know
that
you
we
are.
can get, and then
You want your game 7s.
I want my game 7, and then I do want to see Golden State win that game 7. I'm still.
Can I tell you that if Golden State wins that, I could easily see them sweeping Denver.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't see them sweeping Denver. I really don't.
I think they're too quick. They get up and down way too fast. They have too many athletes, too many scorers, too many opportunities to put the ball in the basket than anybody else Denver has been able to play. Than anybody, really. If it wasn't for Houston's the one team, because they have a guy who can come out and drop 40 on any given night with Kevin Durant. That can keep a team in a game like that.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, James Harden's going to have to carry them, and so far he hasn't disappeared.
He has carried them,
right? And he hasn't disappeared in the playoffs like he kind of did the last couple of years. But still, his usage is still way, way, way up there. Even with Chris Paul back, Chris Paul missed a lot of time this season, but came back at the end of the regular season and has played in all the playoffs. And you get some scoring from him. Chris Paul's not a huge scorer, but he's more to distribute and flop and the things that he does well. But James Harden, it does depend on how he goes and how well they play defense. I mean, you got PJ Tucker and you have Clint Capella, but it depends on how engaged everybody else is, and figuring out how you're going to stop. You're not going to stop Durant. We already said that.
You're not going to stop Steph. Even when you look at this, even when Steph's struggling, he's still dropping 30. So
you kind of just have to make them drive. I think you just have to concentrate on guarding the 3-point line without fouling people, because suddenly that's a thing now that everybody's getting fouled shooting shooting 3-pointers.
Because you have to be in everybody's pocket in these games on a guy like Harden, a guy like Steph, a guy like KD who can shoot over anybody, so he'll shoot anytime he wants. Mm-hmm. A guy like Steph with such a quick release that he can get it off almost in a fraction of a second.
Same with
and
Klay.
A guy like Harden, Klay Thompson's the same way. A guy like Harden who, with his step back, if you're not directly in his pocket, you have to, because he will step back, and then the next time he'll fake a step back and drive. So you have to be on him. So yeah, I feel like in this series you're going to see more fouling in the 3-point line because defenders have to play tighter on those guys. You don't have to do that against the whole NBA. You do have to do it against this 4 or 5 guys in this game.
Well, for whatever reason, it's happening in the entire NBA, and it happened in college basketball a lot too. But you are exactly right. For those reasons, it seems to be, and we had the whole thing, the big controversy after Game 1 that was everybody was talking about all the fouls or the non-calls or whatever on 3-point shooting against Harden. But I don't know. I want to see it go 7 games. I know everybody's sick of Golden State. I'm not. I
love it.
watching them play.
Is this the Western Conference Finals right now? I mentioned that before we started talking about the Western Conference, both these games, but it jokingly, because nobody cares about Denver and Portland. Is this the Western Conference Finals, though? Are both of these teams better than Portland and Denver?
Yes, but I don't think so significantly. I don't see any sweeps no matter what the situation is. Whoever plays whoever in the Western Conference Finals, I don't see a sweep happening. I see Denver, or even I think I see Denver giving them a little bit more of a match than a little bit better match than Portland. But Portland is a team that has blown me away all year because I'm like, I don't understand how these guys
every time
keep winning.
every time I look at their roster, I don't understand how it happens either. It's like a will to win type team. It's a team like the Pacers that play really well together. Mm-hmm. They understand each other. They've been together for a while now.
Play
the
defense.
Core group.
Yep.
They play good defense, but the difference is between the Pacers is they have a superstar on their team.
Yes, that's correct.
And Damian Lillard.
Right. Either way, I think Golden State, if they come out of there now. I think it would be probably a more interesting series if the Rockets played either one of those two teams in the Western Conference Finals. It might be more interesting because I think either of those two teams match up a little bit better with the Rockets.
Yeah, I agree with that. And nobody really matches up well with Golden State.
No, nobody does. And nobody's
even though this is 2-2 currently tied, the series is tied 2-2. I still don't think anybody really matches up well with Golden State.
No. Especially if everybody's shooting it well. So
I'm taking Golden State.
I'm taking Golden State too.
Let's go. I'll go 7 with this, just for fun.
Yep.
Just for your sake, we'll go 7 with that.
I need 3 Game 7s on Sunday. I just need it.
Now, before we flip out, I got a little thing for you. So, all right. So a couple weeks ago, we did a little list. You gave me some Yankees and some Red Sox.
20 greatest, 25 greatest Yankees and Red Sox in that rivalry.
So Ty Lue apparently talks have ended with the Lakers. I thought that was a for sure thing because that's LeBron's boy, but even LeBron can't get his boy in apparently anymore, so this is getting uglier and uglier for LA. However, in LA, they're a pretty impressive franchise, right?
Yes, they are. They have been in the past.
They have been in the past. They have 15 players in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Can you name 10 of them?
10 Los Angeles Lakers that are in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
That played for the Lakers. Don't necessarily they don't have to have a bust of the Lakers. One of them definitely doesn't. But can you think of 10 Lakers?
I don't know if I can think of 10. I have Wilt Chamberlain. I have Jerry West. I'll let you.
You're good. Yeah.
Okay. Elgin Baylor.
Yeah.
I have Magic Johnson.
Yep.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yep.
That is
5.
Let's see. I have.
This list is incomplete. I just thought of one. What's going on with this? Anyway, continue. Go ahead.
Okay.
This might be not as good, but continue. You're good so far.
Let me think. James Worthy.
Got it. 6. Think only played for a little while just to help Kobe and Shaq get another ring.
Shaq is one of them.
Oh, sorry. Threw that one out there. So Shaq on 7. So yeah, this guy likes to. He's. I don't want to give it away.
Okay, so he was
much.
on those teams. I got you. Let's see. It's definitely not Rick Fox. Didn't like him. It's definitely not Ty Lue.
Big guns.
Big guns.
Even bigger shoulders.
Oh, Karl Malone.
There you go.
I got it. Then Gary Payton is in there, right?
Yes. So that's 9. So all you need is one more. And to be honest, I don't know anybody else on this list.
I'm thinking. How about Gail Goodrich?
Gail Goodrich is a winner. He is in the. So man, that was pretty good. You got that pretty quick. All right. Well, that wasn't as fun as I thought it was going to be. You didn't have a Wade Boggs moment like I did, but that's
but you
all
gave
right.
me Shaq and basically gave me Karl Malone.
Yeah, I'm not good because when people start struggling, I just immediately start saying things.
That's okay.
I'm not good at
I appreciated the
help.
assistance.
All right. Well, that was well done by you.
Thanks. Okay. We want to get into the Reds?
Yeah,
You wanna
I
get into the
think we
Reds?
can get
Okay.
into the Reds. Dietrich's a pretty big dude. I wonder if he works out.
Speaking of, yes, I would bet that he works out. He's pretty ripped, actually.
Yeah.
He is.
I wonder where he works out.
Oh, I know where he works out. He works out at a gym in Westwood, Ohio, called Training Personally. Training Personally with Peggy Edwards, and as a matter of fact. Look, no matter your level of fitness, if you like to be challenged or if you need to be challenged, sometimes you don't feel like you want to be challenged because you're just not so motivated, but you know you need to be.
Oh, yeah.
And you want the benefit of working out with a personal trainer, but you don't want to have to pay for one. They're expensive. Training Personally with Peggy Edwards is the gym for you. Peggy Edwards will put you through an interval circuit training session that is fit for any level of fitness. At your pace, your own pace, on your own time. It is the place to go if you need help with nutrition, you need help with attitude, spirituality. I mean, Peggy Edwards is not just a trainer. You're not going to go in there and she's not going to tell you pick up those 20-pound weights and do some curls. You're going to go in there. You're going to have a good time. She keeps her workouts fresh. You're not going to do the same thing all the time. You're going to have different workouts. They're going to be fun. She makes it fun. You're gonna,
does.
She's gonna keep talking to you. You're gonna get done with a workout and realize you just worked out hard for an hour, and like, how did I just do that? Because she keeps you busy, she keeps you occupied. She makes sure she knows what she's doing. She's gonna get you in shape. No matter what, if you're already in shape and you want to get in better shape, she's getting you there. If you haven't worked out in 15 years and you have a little bit of weight to lose or something like that, she can help you with that. Training Personally with Peggy Edwards is on Facebook, and you can also visit trainingpersonally.com.
On that note,
Derek Dietrich
goes
there at least 3 times a week.
It's a big swole dude.
I'm not sure why, because they have a gym at the ballpark, I'm sure. But he loves he loves Training Personally, and he loves Peggy Edwards so much that he goes there. Derek Dietrich has been busy lately.
Derek Dietrich. Okay, so Adam can't stand Derek Dietrich. Why? Because he has too much fun. That's exactly why. He can't stand him because he hits bombs, and when he hits them, he stares at them. And, congratulations, you hit a bomb. You take your time, look at it. Do the moonwalk to first base is what I say. Adam dislikes it. Not a Dietrich fan. However, I don't know how you can't be after this past weekend. They wore their 1896 uniforms. He's got 3 buttons buttoned down, chain flipping around. He took eye black, puts the eye black on, then makes a Fu Manchu with the eye black. Just fun guy. He then comes out. There's bees that stop a game in its tracks. Not in its tracks because it hadn't started yet. Postpones a Reds game. He comes out in a beekeeper's uniform. Well, not really. It was just a white button-up shirt. That was actually Nick Senzel's shirt. Comes out in a looking like a beekeeper, spraying some spray around, taking care of everybody. Hilarious, fun guy. Then the Lights postponed the game last night at Oakland. Last night, yeah.
Yep.
So what does he do? He comes out with his tool belt, goes and finds the elephant, which, by the way, I still, to this day, have no idea why an elephant is the Athletic. I feel like if I could choose any mascot to be a mascot for a team called the Oakland Athletics, I feel like the elephant is the least athletic animal in nature.
I looked this up a long time ago.
Yeah.
How they got the elephant as a mascot.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't remember what it
Oh
was.
man, what a disappointing ending to that
Yeah.
story.
But there is some sort of, so you can look it up. You can go to Google or whatever and
Sure.
and look up elephant mascot Oakland A's or whatever.
So
and you
Dietrich-
will get the explanation.
So Dietrich goes over to the mascot. He's got his helmet on. He's got a bat. He's got a little the one hand bat. He's got, I think he had some like soft scrub spray or something. He had all
Had some
kinds of
tape
stuff.
on
He had
there.
some tape in there. He looked good. He had some keys. They were going to go up and try to fix it. They took a look at it. They couldn't quite handle it, but the guy is funny. You have got to like this guy.
So I admittedly will say that it's harder for me to get into this guy because of what we talked about so much. The home run that he hit, that he stood there and watched and set up a campsite
man.
at home plate
Here we
and got his binoculars out and watched the guy that got the ball.
You
And
want to keep talking like that? I'm going to get into it.
watched his kid take it to show and tell the next day in school, and watched him go to Hobby Lobby and get a case for it. And he watched all this happen from the batter's box before he started to slowly walk to first base.
Hey, and
And-
you know what? He beat the pitcher. He won.
Yes.
Congratulations.
He-
Have a little celebration. Not even he didn't even celebrate. He just watched it go out.
Right, he didn't
Why
celebrate.
can't I watch where that ball goes?
He did-
You hit a ball that far, trust me, the first thing you want to do is know where it lands.
You're right in that he did not celebrate. He just flat out
Watched it.
embarrassed the pitcher
Oh,
on purpose.
what? Yeah, he
So
did
anyway.
embarrass. He embarrassed him when he hit the ball 450 feet. That was the embarrassment. The fact that he sat there and watched it, that made it no less embarrassing for that pitcher.
So I admit that because of my feeling about that, it's harder for me to get on board with Derek Dietrich. But I do appreciate a guy who likes a little comedy, who keeps it fun in situations like that. Two very odd situations where the game was delayed. Guys aren't until they know when the game is exactly going to start. They're not going to go warm up or whatever, or in some cases they've already warmed up and
Sure.
so they're just kind of waiting to see what happens. So it's not like he had anything else to do there. He came out. It was entertaining for people at the ballpark. It was entertaining for everybody else because it was all over social media. They had videos and pictures and stuff all over the place. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. I like that he's having fun. I like that he hits home runs. I don't like how he behaves all the time. I don't know why he wears a 50-pound chain around his neck, a gold chain, like it's 1994.
When you got a body like that, you do whatever you want.
Why do you have to?
He's a bad.
Why do you have to have that haircut and wear that chain? I don't know, but anyway,
What's wrong with the haircut? Everybody in Major League Baseball has that haircut.
No one else in Major League Baseball that I know has that haircut. Anyway, I'm trying to get on board with Derek Dietrich. It's slowing me down what he did and some of the stuff he does sometimes. Some of the kind of Puig, Yasiel Puig type stuff that
he's got. I think he's a little cocky, but that's all right.
right.
There's nothing wrong with a little cocky.
There is to me, but it was fun to see him kind of goofing off and doing that stuff for the B thing and the lights. Which brings me, before we get on to our next guy, we're basically talking about three players.
We're gonna talk, for the
Run-
triple play.
Run down. Speaking of the B thing and the light thing, on Thursday last week, the Reds lost a 1-0 game to the Mets where Noah Syndergaard pitched a complete game shutout and hit the home run for the only run of the game.
Yep.
Very rare feat, right? Friday, the very next day, the Reds took an 8-0 lead in the third inning.
Right.
They lost 12-11 in that game. That was Nick Senzel's debut.
That was a rough game. I think everybody went to bed thinking that game was over.
including me.
Yeah.
No, actually, no. I think I was up for that.
I went to bed.
Saturday, they wore the 1902 uniforms. They were the white. They had the big shirt pocket.
Yep.
And the collar.
Yep.
Which is really weird to think that they wore those. They wore basically dress shirts to play baseball.
Dude, they
a
used
long
to wear,
time ago.
Yeah, but they would wear a suit to the fans wore suits to the game.
Right. And I love. They've been doing it for a long time now in every sport. But I love the retro uniforms. most of them. And I do like these. I don't think they've ever worn these. They took it all the way back. That was 1902. They wore that on Saturday. Saturday was also the day that Matt Kemp was released, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Sunday, they wore the 1911 blue uniforms. You mentioned that Dietrich he put the eye black where like it almost covered his whole face, and then he painted a mustache on, it's weird to think about. Like he basically painted his face for this game.
I loved it.
And
I absolutely
it's
loved
weird
it.
because I don't feel like I've ever seen that before.
No, I've never in my life seen it. Once again, another reason why I love it.
I don't know how I feel about that.
You don't like it because it's Dietrich. That's the reason you don't like it.
Maybe if it was a player that I really, really loved, I would like it.
If Barry
a little
Larkin
bit more.
did it, you would think it was the coolest thing to ever happen.
But Barry Larkin wouldn't do it because he's a class act. Now,
how is that? What makes that not a class act by putting a mustache on your face with eye black?
So that was Sunday. Monday,
no answer. No answer.
The bees caused an 18-minute delay. That was really, really interesting. We've seen stuff like that happen before in other ballparks, and it's actually happened 2 other times in Cincinnati, one in 76, one in 87. But it was so interesting because the bees swarmed basically on the Diamond Club near home plate. People got up and walked away and stuff. There were 2 longtime beekeepers that were fans, just happened to be in the ballpark that day.
Just hanging out.
And they went, the bees eventually made it to like a seat and they swarmed. There were 50 to 75,000 bees from what I understand.
Yeah, 10 pounds of bees.
10 pounds
they said
of bees.
They got them in a Joey Votto bobblehead box.
Yes.
These 2 dudes got down there, no beekeeper uniforms, nothing on.
No protection.
Got the queen and 10 pounds of bees.
Found the queen in 50,000 bees. Okay, or maybe they didn't find, but they knew where she was.
I mean, just look for the one with a crown, right?
Oh, that's true. That's true. She would have a crown or some sort of tiara.
Yeah,
right.
I feel like that would be pretty simple.
That's true, and the only female, I'm guessing.
Sure.
I'm assuming
I guess.
the queen is the only
Man,
female.
I'll tell you
The
what,
rest of bees are males.
That poor girl.
Right. Big sausage fest for the bee community, but
yeah.
They I don't know if they found it or they just knew where it was because bees in a hive followed the queen or whatever.
Yeah.
So they basically dumped them all in this box. Neither one of those guys got stung.
Not a
from what I
single
understand.
sting.
Unbelievable to me.
10 pounds of bees. Think about what a bee weighs. And they had 10 pounds of bees.
Like a 1/100th of an ounce or something like that.
Absolutely phenomenal to me. Boom.
That was
bases loaded. Amir Garrett comes in, strikes out. I don't know.
Very nice.
Who's up?
An Oakland
Olsen.
day.
Yeah, the first baseman, Olsen. Anyway, still only 2 outs. He's got to get one more with the bases loaded. Anyway, continue.
So we've got so that was Monday, the B thing. Then last night we mentioned it. There was a 98-minute delay when some of the left field lights would not work in Oakland. They worked on it for a while, could not get it fixed, but then kind of waited for it to get dark enough where they could see how it was going to look, and then both teams agreed that they would play through it. That's what they did.
Mm-hmm.
So the game started right around midnight our Eastern time. And it ended up, I'm thinking, like, this is going to be a 3 o'clock in the morning finish.
Yeah.
It ended up finishing about 2 in the morning because it was a really fast game.
Yeah, because the Reds were no hit.
Because Mike Fiers, who was pitching for Oakland, no-hit the Reds in the middle of the night.
How about that this guy, Mike Fiers, is now on the list of pitchers with 2 no-hitters.
2 no-hitters. There's
not a lot of people on that list. One person is Homer Bailey, who...
Yes.
But the other person is a guy named Mark. Mike? Is it Mike or Mark? I can't remember what his first name is.
I don't know. What's his
Fiers.
last name? Oh, Mike. Yeah,
Mike
Fiers, right.
What's his last name?
Mike Fiers.
You couldn't even remember his last name.
I thought you were talking about somebody else.
I know you did.
Anyway, yeah, and speaking of that, I wanted to ask you, so you have Mike Fiers. Mike Fiers, his career numbers, where did I write this down? I have it right here. He's 50.
Get the Bible out.
He's 57 and 50. My eyes are so bad. Oh my god. He's 57 and 58 lifetime, 4.11 career ERA, 1.268 WHIP. He's played for 4 teams in 9 years. Homer Bailey, you mentioned, two no-hitters, 70 and 80 in his career, 4.58 career ERA, a 1.3 WHIP. Was basically given away in the offseason. Dallas Braden, who pitched a perfect game, spent only 5 years in the major leagues, was 26 and 36. His ERA was over 4. His WHIP was over 1.3. Chris, you have to pitch great to throw a no-hitter. You don't have to be a great pitcher. This was the 300th no-hitter in Major League history.
Mm-hmm.
Is a no-hitter overrated?
No, I'm going to say no. I don't think it's overrated. You have to. I still, even though you don't have to be, you have to be a good pitcher. You have to have good stuff to no hit somebody. You got to have that stuff, and you have to have the ability to throw that stuff. You may not have the ability to throw it every day, but you got to have the ability. I don't think it's overrated. I think a no hitter, and also they're playing the Reds, who's literally the worst team in Major League Baseball. They have the worst batting average in Major League Baseball.
Average, yeah.
So they're not getting a ton of hits anyway. But at the same time, you got to go out there against Major League hitters, and none of them can get a hit on that night. I think I still look. I'm still kind of old school. I don't know. I still think that's impressive. It's nowhere near what a perfect game is because
Right.
there's 17 perfect games or something like that out there.
Right.
Nowhere near that. However, and a lot of those no hitters were way back in the day. In the early teens, in the 1900s, and when these dudes were, they were playing a bunch of rum-dums and ding-dongs.
But they were rum-dums and ding-dongs themselves.
But they were better than the other rum-dums.
You had
Hoo-ha's? I don't think I ever said hoo-ha.
I'm going to go back to that episode. I'm going to find it and see what you said. And figure out what that was. I think I just feel like it was hoo-ha. Anyway,
just got it confused with things that you like.
It's interesting. Okay, no, I think I know what you're saying. Okay. It's just interesting to me to think about some of that. Now you have the all-time greats. Nolan Ryan had 7 no-hitters.
Right.
You have
exactly
some of the all-time great pitchers threw no-hitters.
Shows you how dominant they really were.
And you have some guys like the 3 that I mentioned and several others that really are not anywhere, really weren't very good pitchers if you look at overall numbers for their careers, who threw no-hitters. There's a lot to throw a no-hitter. There's a lot of luck involved. You have to be really good. Like you said, you have to have the stuff. You have to, even if you have the stuff 4% of the time in your career or something like that. Because a lot of guys, I think Bronson Royal always said it was like, if you have 30 starts, you're going to be really good in 10, really bad in 10, and somewhere in between in 10, or something like that.
Yeah.
So, or maybe it was like really good in 5, really bad in 5, and somewhere in between in the rest of them or whatever. And that is the case for most people. For these guys, in a lot of cases, they're bad in more games than they are okay or good, in some cases. So you have to have a lot of luck. In almost every no-hitter, you have at least one or usually a couple big-time defensive plays.
Spectacular defensive plays. In this game, Votto got robbed of a home run. So,
right.
Yeah.
It's just I just found it interesting that, this is a guy who is a journeyman. I mean, he's been around a while, and he's pitched for 4 different teams in 9 years, and he's not a great pitcher.
And yet he has 2 no-hitters.
And he has 2 no-hitters. Same with Homer Bailey. So anyway, I just wanted to get your opinion on whether you think that was.
I don't think it's overrated. I don't think that it's underrated, but I don't think it's overrated.
And I'm with that.
I think
it's still a pretty incredible.
I think
feat.
it's equally rated.
Yeah, it's okay. It's appropriately rated.
Appropriately rated.
So then, okay. So moving on.
All right, so let's moving on to appropriately overly rated. We talked about how overrated when rookies come up and get called in from AAA and how crazy it gets, and can be a little overrated for their first game, spectacular whatever goes on. Nick Senzel gets called up last Friday, starts in his first game. He's got an RBI today. He's been playing decently well. So with that. comes a lot of things. This is the new Reds. I mean, you're looking at a big part of the core of what's going to be going for the next few years. So, what do you think about Mr. Nick Senzel in this whole deal?
It seems honestly like the offense suddenly got a spark, even in games that he didn't like. He was 1 for 4 or something like that. The offense has been, before Nick Senzel came up. So before Senzel, which I'm going to just call BS. Before Senzel.
Before Senzel.
Get it?
Oh, I got it. I got it. I had to think, but I got it.
Little
It took a
Bible
second.
reference. Also,
It was going over my head, and I grabbed it from behind and pulled it back down.
That's a great catch. The Reds' offense averaged 3.5 runs a game. Since Senzel's been called up in the 5 games, not including tonight, 7.4 runs a game.
Now, they've got 4 now, so they're on their way.
He's shown he's hitting going into this game. He's only hitting 200, but he has walked 4 times in 24 plate appearances.
Yep.
So he's getting on base, and that's why he's batting first. He's leading off now most of the time when he's playing. So he has 3 home runs.
Because 200 is good on this team right now.
Yeah,
This team is hitting.
It's funny.
Horribly.
It's funny you said that because I was on the Reds website today, and they have the team leaders in every statistical category. Yeah. The team leader in batting average is Jesse Winker at like 237.
Yeah,
237 is leading this team in batting average.
Jose Iglesias is at 295 now.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And
okay.
Farmer's at 238, but 295.
So maybe
Iglesias.
it was depending on how many at bats,
yeah.
right?
But still, I mean, when Iglesias, the defensive shortstop that you brought in from Detroit, and he has been. I mean, obviously 295 is really good, and he's becoming he is the everyday shortstop right now. For this until we can figure out what's going to happen with Scooter and everybody gets moved around.
Right.
But yeah, I mean it's just this kid. I think he's going to be good. I like this Senzel kid. I think this is not going to be anything like a rookie of the year type year for him. But I do think that he's going to fit in well. Once this team starts hitting, I think he'll start hitting better. This team will start hitting. It's going to happen.
They're already starting to hit.
Right. It's come along. But the problem is it took almost a third of the year. So none of these guys are going to have good batting averages at the end of the year.
I still feel like there's a long way to go. I really do.
There is, but they've already had too many at-bats.
Yeah. You're probably right.
I mean, Votto's not going to hit 300. It's just not going to happen. Votto, I mean, he could get himself up to like in that 260, 275 range, but he'd be the only guy I could see that could get anywhere up too far above 250, 260.
And he's playing almost every single day, and he's going to get 5 plate appearances every day.
Yeah.
So he'll have the opportunity to get close. But you're right, and Senzel just seems to have sparked them a little bit. He had the 2 home run game from the leadoff spot the other day. He led the first inning and the second inning off with home runs. That was what night? Was that the night that they? No, they scored a bunch of runs that game, but
that was the 12 or when they were up 12 to whatever.
Was it? I was thinking that was his major league debut, but maybe not. Anyway,
that was. Anyway, yeah.
Either way, Senzel, it's still exciting, because he's played well in center field so far. So it's exciting to see him up. Now, as part of the acquisition to bring him up, you had to make some roster space. Matt Kemp was released. Now,
Adios.
Matt Kemp we've talked for ever since the Reds acquired him in the offseason. When is he getting traded? That didn't happen.
It didn't happen. I really thought they acquired this guy to get traded, and I believe that they did everything they could to probably try to get rid of him. I don't think they were having any offers. That's the only thing that makes sense to me on why they would make this. Now, he is also making probably more money than anybody except Joey Votto on this team, because back when Votto signed that big deal after 2 years after his MVP year, Matt Kemp was the guy he was chasing after, or was it Cargo? No, it was Gonzalez, wasn't it? Either way, Kemp was up there with it too.
Yeah.
But so Kemp's making money, and a little too much money so they were able to clear some cap. They tried to get rid of him. I guarantee they tried to get rid of him. It just didn't happen. Now, this early, I just think they figured that they weren't getting anything.
That's why still have an issue with it, because it's this early. He was hurt. He was on the injured list, but he wasn't going to be out the rest of the first half of the season or anything. I don't think it was a serious injury, so he was going to come back and still have some time to. I just thought they could have given him, when he got back, when he got healthy, given him some more time, given him some more at bats, and if he hit the ball well, then you have some value and you can see what you can get for him. I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't have gotten much for him anyway, but at the trade deadline, some of these teams that are contenders that might need one more at bat or one more big bat might be willing to give up. I mean, we see that every year almost. That
Yeah.
Teams give up a top 10 a prospect or whatever, a top 5 prospect or whatever
to get a bat that they can stick in
to
the
get a
outfield
help
or
for the
anywhere. Yeah.
second half of that year, and that's it. And that's what he's going to be for whoever picks him up.
I'm just telling you that I don't think the Reds would have got rid of him now unless there was something going on where either they didn't think he was going to come back from some kind of injury, or that because he's not coming back next year. He's on a one. This is his last year of his deal. So that, or it was just the point where they had talked to everybody and nobody had any offers for him. And if they don't have offers for him now, not even won't even talk to you about it, then it's probably not somebody they're going to be looking at in the future.
Well, there was he wasn't playing every day, and he was, nobody was hitting on the team early on, so he didn't even get an opportunity to.
He was wasting away.
Be of any value.
Right. I don't think they ever wanted him on this team to begin with.
No, I'm sure he was a throw-in for
in the Homer Bailey,
right.
The whole money. The Dodgers were trying to get rid of money, and
right.
He was just a throw-in to get rid of some cash.
But there was still potential because he was an all-star last year. He had a really good year last year. There was still some potential to turn him over for something of value, and I thought they would do that. They didn't. But look, they called up. They got rid of him and sent down Scott Schebler. At the same time, they called up Nick Senzel, and then I think it was the next day or 2 days later, called up Josh Van Meter, who was not one of the top prospects in this Reds organization, but was tearing apart.
And still is.
AAA
He's 1 for 2 today. He's hitting 250 since he's been called up, which I know is only.
He's not going to get a lot of at-bats, but like opportunities like this where he can be a DH,
tonight.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So he's just hitting the ball like crazy this year in AAA. Now so far in a very limited number of at bats in the major leagues. But if he keeps hitting, I mean, you have that. Also, you got rid of 2 outfielders, called up 1. That clears up a little bit of room in the outfield because you had 15 of them.
Sure.
Van Meter's an infielder. So he's not another guy that's going to clog that up.
For some reason, Peraza's playing left field tonight.
Right. They're starting.
You
to
don't
play
have
him
enough outfielders, I guess. So make another guy an outfielder. So here's my next question for you, and this was brought up by Joe Leonard on the Facebook Live, and I really like this question. Trade prospects for Puig. At this point in time, the Reds are sellers right now, right? I mean, they're in 5th place. They're in the bottom of their division. This division looks like it's going to end up like last year, where the top 4 teams are all going to finish over 500. Mm-hmm. The Reds will be. I think they may get close to 500 this year. They're if it wasn't for the 4-game losing streak and the 8-game losing streak, they'd actually be playing. They wouldn't be too bad right now. But at this point in time, it looks like they're going to be sellers. They're not going to be. Challenging anybody for a playoff spot this year. So Puig. Are they getting rid of Puig, or do you think this is somebody that they come back and try to re-sign?
No, I think they get rid of Puig.
So he's going to be somebody that's going to be gone by a trade deadline.
I think so, because you have Winker is established, Senzel is established. That's your left fielder and center fielder.
Is Winker established?
Yeah, I think they are in on him, except for the fact that, like tonight, he's not playing against left-handed pitchers.
That's what I mean. Is he really an established player, or is he a fill-in guy right now until we get a better core outfield set?
No, I think he's a good enough hitter that, and even with his trouble with left-handers, I think he's good enough a hitter that they are sold on him being their left fielder. They are going to have to let him hit against left-handers, though. Otherwise, he's never gonna get better if he doesn't hit against left-handers. So right now, he's not good against them. But a lot of guys struggle with the same side, that they hit from. So they just need to let him hit. Just play him every day. Yes, right now he's hitting like 0.77 or something against left-handed hitters, but it's going to stay that way if you keep him out of every game that a left-handed pitcher is pitching in. So let him hit. I think he's good enough to end up, he's a 280, 290 caliber hitter, I think. And he's a guy that's going to get on base because he's patient and he's going to, he'll draw you some walks and stuff like that. And that's why they were so high on him.
With this team, where they're at now, where we're past the point of 15, where we had a really good roster, but at that point in time, you knew that the Reds were going to be getting rid of people. Everybody was available. They were taking trade requests for everybody and anybody except for like Joey Votto. Where this team is now, where we feel like we've got you see the pieces coming together for the next 4 or 5 years, possibly. Who on this team, because they're going to be sellers? Who's available and who's not? Who are you? Is there anybody on this roster that is locked in? There's no chance you're getting rid of.
I was before the season started, I was like, we need to trade Nick Senzel because I wanted Corey Kluber, and I thought that's what it was going to take. I needed Senzel out of here.
Thank God we didn't get,
because it meant Corey Kluber was coming. Nick Senzel seems like he's probably the guy,
untouchable,
the guy. So yeah, I think he's going to be one of them.
Is there anybody else on this team? Is Votto still untouchable?
Luis Castillo, I would think.
Castillo, okay, yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know that Votto is untouchable.
Votto's untouchable because nobody wants his contract.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Nobody wants a two-hole hitter out of your corner infielder who's only hitting 213 this year. You know what he is.
That's like Steph struggling.
But for the most part, your corner infielders aren't your two-hole hitters. They're coming up hitting 30, 40 bombs a year. Maybe not that, 25 to 35 bombs a year, and Votto's just not that guy anymore. So I think that he might be. I don't think he's not untouchable, but I think he's made untouchable by that contract.
It wouldn't hurt to get rid of that contract for sure. So I'm sure the Reds would be willing to do something like that. But like you said, it's going to take. That might be a situation. Well, it wouldn't even be a situation because somebody's not gonna. It's not going to be a rental for a year. He's still got a ton of time left on that contract.
He's got 4 or 5 years left on his contract.
Right. So he's not going anywhere regardless. Whether he's untouchable or not, he's not going anywhere. And I'm fine with that because I still love Votto.
Yeah.
And I've never cared about the tradition of you have to have a power hitter at the corner, outfield or infield spots. I don't care about that because you just need some power somewhere in your lineup, and whoever you get it from, set your lineup according to what you have. So, the guys that are untouchable are the ones that I think maybe just Senzel and Castillo,
and that's it.
I think there's a core now that with some of those younger guys, and especially with this pitching staff, the pitching staff's been really good. The starting pitching staff's been really good,
really good.
So. You don't really want to break that up. You want to, because a lot of these guys are still really young. You want to give them another shot. Now, of course, Roark, we're going to see what he does for the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. We're going to see when Alex Wood comes back, whenever that happens.
If he comes back.
Right.
Could be another Ryan Madsen.
Yeah, except I don't wish for Alex Wood. Never mind. Still a little bitter. Still a little bitter about Votto getting hit in the knee. But
I know you are.
Those guys are probably – those two guys are probably untouchable. But other than that, Taylor Trammell and Hunter Green probably in the minors. That's the other thing too. you still have. We're talking about our core.
We still have. There's a lot of guys down there. There's guys that we don't even talk about down in the AA side of things that they think in 3 years is going to be part of what this team is. That's why I don't know that Winker's necessarily set. Maybe for another year or two, but I don't know what his contract looks like. I don't see him as. I think they're hoping they got something down there a little bit better.
I can see that. I don't know. I'm still pretty high on Winker. I can see him being the left fielder. I can see maybe Taylor Trammell coming up and bumping Senzel to right field maybe, and having Trammell in center and Senzel in right, and that's your outfield for the next 6-8 years or whatever. Yep. Because I think Winker's good enough to be a really good player for a long time
against right-handers,
against everybody. I think overall, he will struggle definitely against left-handers more than right-handers for sure. But I think if you look at everybody's splits, I think you have a lot of guys. I think in most cases that's the case. But a lot of guys get everyday opportunities even with that problem.
And I guess the real question is, if that's the case, then you don't think Bell's going to continue to be the coach of this team for very much longer. Because if Bell's the coach, then he's not hitting against lefties because he's the most sabermetric ding dong I've ever. I shouldn't.
It's just about matchups for him.
Everything is about matchups, right. And I'm not 100% sold on that. I still feel like you can be a sabermetric guy. You can be a matchup guy. You can be a guy who looks at the numbers and stares at a book and sees this guy does this against this and this is what happens. But if you got a guy that's hot, and there's still something to that fire, that guy's on fire, the hotness, the streakiness of somebody. There's still something to that eyesight where I'm looking at him and I'm like, this dude's untouchable today, or this guy's so hot at the plate, I don't care who's pitching. There's a spot like that, and I don't like that he is so far into the sabermetric side of things. I think that he just doesn't even care about that. That has been annoying to me. I don't necessarily dislike him yet, and I'm not calling for his head. Don't get me wrong. I'm a guy that I'll give you a year or two. I feel like you should have 2 years before I really can start hating your guts. But because it's already starting to get on my nerves. This pulling guys in the fifth inning when they're on fire, and I'm starting to shake and get excited because that's really, really annoying me. However, when he's done it, it hasn't hurt them. On those. Now, Iglesias has blown a ton of saves so far this year in the ninth inning and given up a ton of home runs, and I don't think he's fully healthy or something's wrong with him. Lorenzen should be the one coming in the biggest situations at this point because that guy's the hottest pitcher we have out of the bullpen. However, that happening in the ninth inning doesn't bother me as much as pulling somebody in the fifth when you can easily get 2 more innings out of somebody that is just rolling.
Yep. I know that's been killing you. I don't know. I know it's a newer school way of thinking. We saw it start to get really big last year. There are a lot of people in that same mindset that, it's a bullpen thing. You're getting your bullpen guys. They already pulled up an extra bullpen arm in Cody Reed.
He sits there and complains that we got to bring up another arm because the bullpen's getting wore out. The bullpen's wore out because you wear them out.
Right. I would like to see him give the starters a little longer leash, I guess.
And maybe it's because they're young and it's beginning of the season. You know how I feel about that too. If you're not ready now, then go at it. But I don't know.
Like first start or two maybe, but at this point everybody's made 3-4 starts.
And yet he's still pulling Castillo in the after throwing 5 2/3, and he gives up a dink base hit. Malley, he does it to Malley all the time.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe if it doesn't work out, enough times for him, maybe he starts to think.
The problem is it hasn't been terrible for him yet.
Right.
The bullpen's been fantastic. So when he does bring the bullpen in, it hasn't hurt him.
Yeah.
It's going to at some point in time. It's going to hurt him.
Well, Iglesias hasn't been hasn't been too good.
That's the one spot. But I mean, whoever's come in for that
Yeah.
has not been a bad move. Anyway,
Right. Yeah, and speaking of Iglesias, our friend Bobby Nightingale reported the other day that Iglesias, after he had blown another save or whatever, or blown another opportunity, blown another lead, that he mentioned that he was not totally happy with the way he's being used, meaning he's brought in the 8th inning to get the last out or two.
all right,
And-
Iglesias is on the trade deadline. You suck it up. I hate that more than anything in the world. You know what? You should be pitching if you really want to be the lights out guy. Then you should be in when the best hitters are up at the end of the game. Why do you want to pitch against the 7, 8, 9 hitters in the 9th inning? Why that? What does that do for you? What is that? You get a save next to your name. People are clapping because you struck out the 11th guy or whatever, so they get a free pizza. Get out of here. If you're a true professional and you are a true competitor, you want that. I want to be the guy going in the 8th against 4, 5, 6, against 3, 4, 5, against 1, 2, 3, whatever. That's what I want. I don't care about 9th inning malarkey, whatever. That's why I think you want to talk about overrated, underrated. The save is one of the most overrated things in baseball. We've talked about that before. I think the closer is one of the most overrated things in baseball. I want my best pitcher out of the bullpen to come in at the most important part of the game. Anyway, so if that's what he really said, I didn't see that. If that's what he said, then he can stick it up his yin yang. Plus, he's not pitching well. So Michael Lorenzen should be the one. If there's a closer or whatever, then it should be Lorenzen at this point in time, which he has been for the last, 3, 4 games when they've had the opportunity.
Yeah, and I don't know that
Stop
it's
giving up home runs.
Right.
Stop complaining.
I don't know that it's necessarily like he doesn't want to pitch in the 8th inning or something like that. I think I'm sure he's probably fine pitching in those big situations, but I don't know what it's like to be a relief pitcher at that level, come in, pitch, go into the dugout and sit, and then come back out again. I feel like relief pitch. Now, there are guys who do pitch more than 1 inning in relief. Those are, usually kind of designated guys that are longer relievers, but usually, especially when you are a closer for the last few years and you're used to pitching, coming in the game, pitching, getting 1, 2, or 3 outs, and that's in your inning, and then you go into the dugout and you're done, it might be a different thing. It might be, there might be something different about
So
the
he doesn't like pitching 2 innings?
I
Has
kind
he
of
pitched,
feel
has he
like
pitched
that.
2 innings a lot?
Well, I think that's what he does is brings him in that big situation in the
to
8th
to get that last out
to get
or
that out,
two
and then brings it back out in the 9th. That's what I was assuming.
I
he
don't
was talking
understand
about.
that. That doesn't make any sense to me. It still doesn't make any sense to me.
It might feel different if you're ramping
I gotta
up.
read the article without you're ramping up. Go back in the dugout, get your butt ramped up, and go back out there and pitch again.
In the dugout.
Or you get done, you go back to the dugout, and then you come back out and pitch again.
Yeah, I
Make
think
your out, get your out.
I just feel like I've heard relief pitchers say that before, where that's one of the big things about the difference between being a starter and a reliever is the difference between pitching the way you're going to pitch if you're planning on pitching 7 innings rather than pitching 1 inning and going full force 100%. You might not throw. You might throw 100 because you are ramped up to throw 100, and you're going to throw 10 pitches or 12 or 15 pitches.
Well, then go back out there when that next inning starts and get yourself ramped up again. You get time to warm up out there on the mound, ramp yourself back up, do what you got to do. If you can't do it, and you can only be that guy, then you're not worth what we just paid you.
Well, yeah.
If you can't do it, then you're
I don't
not
think
worth
so
it.
either.
I
Anyway,
know, but
yeah.
if you can't do it, then you're not worth it. If you don't like the way you're being used because you can't do something, then you need to go back and figure something out about yourself.
I think it was probably more just frustration.
Now
I really
I'm frustrated.
do. Well,
I didn't read the article. I don't know what he said.
It
but
was
I'm
frustrating for
frustrated.
you, but I think he said it probably in frustration because he hasn't been pitching well. I think he's probably fine with it if he's pitching well in those situations. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. That was a lot of stuff about the Reds. for people who are listening who are not from Cincinnati or do not care about the Reds.
It is what it is. We
aren't
apologize.
going to-
We're from
Yeah.
Cincinnati. We're a Cincinnati based podcast. We do a lot of national stuff, but there's not a lot of national baseball stuff going on right now.
And we're not going to do this every week. Some weeks we will have all Red stuff. In a lot of weeks we're going to do 3 things about the rest of baseball.
Right.
So don't tune us out if you're listening for the first time or something. Don't tune us out. We talk about everything else too.
Yep. And so coming up next week, we will have the MLB Triple Play. More than likely, we'll probably do a little more national stuff involved in that one because we focus. Unless something crazy happens with the Reds, then it could be 3 things on the Reds.
Right.
But the Western Conference Finals and the Eastern Conference Finals will have started
Yes.
by the time we come back on here next. So that'll be fun. Getting closer and closer. I mean, we got another month and a half before it's all over, but it's getting closer and closer to the end of the NBA, and we will talk about that.
Yes, we will.
100%. We will definitely dive even deeper into those games and hopefully find some more things that Adam gets annoyed about. Basically, I just need to find people having fun, and Adam will be annoyed.
Mostly if somebody's having fun somewhere, I'm uncomfortable with it.
It's the truth. It is. We could be at a family party and everybody's laughing and having fun, and Adam's in the corner like
That is not
like with
true.
an itch, scratching his face. It's not
No,
true.
I
I'm just
just-
kidding.
no, I
Adam
love
knows.
our-
Adam
I love
has
our family
fun.
parties.
Adam knows how to have fun. But he is annoyed by too much fun.
I'm gonna try to increase the positivity from here on out. I think.
Okay. Okay, I believe it. Sure. All right. So on that note, we will see. Real quick, Adam, tweet box. How do we get a hold of you?
I am at Adam Schmidt 44.
And I'm at Sick With It. No Twitter at all this week. I completely cut Twitter out this week. I did a pretty good job of it. I'm proud of myself. Didn't look at it one time.
Wow.
Never opened the app for an entire week.
So that's not very encouraging for people who want to get a hold of you on Twitter. But
No, but I would get a
notification.
I'd get a notification. I'll jump on it if somebody's hitting me up.
hit him up.
You want to try to slide
Make him-
into my DMs? Come on,
Make him
slide on in.
Slide in his DMs. Make him get back on Twitter. We are now all responsible for getting Chris more involved in Twitter.
I did for a while, man, and I just
know it.
got mad. I just made me mad.
I'm gonna start tagging you in everything so that you get all these
Oh my
notifications
gosh.
and you gotta look at it and get on Twitter, and then you're gonna end up seeing other stuff, and you'll get mad, and then we'll have something to talk about here.
Oh yeah, I'll be you get me on Twitter, buddy. You get me on that tweet box, I'll be going all day. FaceTube tweet box and what
FaceTube.
else is there? The chat snap, all these things, man. They get me. Some of them are just a little out there. Anyway,
What's your nickname for Instagram?
the gram. Oh no, that's actually
That's-
what it's
that's
called.
the real
So
thing.
now it's the Insta,
Okay. All right.
the upper GI.
Just wondering.
Isn't it the IG Instagram? Anyway.
IG.
So anyway, we'll be back next week with plenty more sports and hopefully some ridiculousness. Until then, don't forget to turn your headlights on.